Without question, PBA Hall of Famer Dick Weber really is the captain of the Showboat. He won in '86 over Les Sykes, and then 1 year later, he finished very strong in the 10th frame and was in essence handed the tournament by J.B. Blaylock, who missed the 10-pin. Dick Weber looking for title number 30 in his career and perhaps 3 in a row here at the Showboat. Stay tuned. The Professional Bowlers Association Summer Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By True Value Hardware. It's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. And by Columbia 300. Welcome to the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center in Las Vegas for the championship round finals of the $100,000 Showboat PBA Seniors Invitational. Now let's meet our top 5 finalists. Making his first ever appearance on national television is 54-year-old Joe Callaway out of Aurora, Colorado. His opponent in the opening game is also making his initial appearance in the championship round, John Hricsina. The winner of that game will then take on talented Teata Semiz, looking for his 3rd consecutive seniors title. Bowling out of the number 2 position, the only winner in this seniors event at the Showboat, Hall of Famer Dick Weber. And of course, from the Windy City, tonight's top seed in search of his 19th career PBA championship, Carmen Salvino. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the first of 12 ESPN telecasts of the PBA Summer Tour. And joining me once again is Hall of Famer Mike Durbin. And, Mike, I want to throw this out at the top of the show. It won't be too long before you're bowling in the seniors events.
Just 3 more years, Denny.
Okay, let's talk about the top 5. In essence, 25 years ago, Dick Weber and Carmen Salvino dominated the tour, and I guess times really haven't changed.
They certainly haven't, Denny. Dick Weber has 26 national titles to his credit. Since he started bowling senior events, this is his 15th senior event. He's cashed in all 15. In fact, he's made the match play in all 15, and this is his 10th championship round appearance. Salvino, on the other hand, has 17 national titles. He's bowled in 11 senior events, cashed in them all, missed the match play only twice, and this is his 8th championship round appearance. So these two have really dominated the sport of bowling for a long time.
All right, enough of number 1 and number 2. The player who really has just been awesome on the seniors tour is qualified to the number 3 position. That, of course, Teata Semiz.
Teata, who's won our last 2 senior events. He won the Canton Championship, the Hall of Fame Canton Championship in Canton, Ohio, and then he won in Fort Pierce. No one had even won 2 before. He's trying for 3. He got within 10 pins of the lead last night and then shot 170, but he says he's ready to go tonight.
Really, in essence, 2 storylines this evening because we have 3 prominent players on top of the leaderboard, but then 2 basic rookies, I guess you could say, even though they're older than 50, at the bottom.
Well, I think it's just indicative, Denny, of the strength of our senior program. Joe Callaway and John Hricsina are not household names, yet they've beaten a big field here to make our top 5. I expect them to perform very well tonight.
And so do I. A record field of 160 seniors shoot it up this week at the Showboat. Only 5 remain, and they'll shoot for $13,000 in first place prize money. Opening match coming up next between Callaway and Hricsina.
Hi there. You looking for Mr. Wright?
Give this guy a light. And Bud Light here.
Ask for Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Thanks. Keep the change.
All you need to know about great selection and low prices is here, inside the newest circular from True Value Hardware stores. Check out the Father's Day circular for the Loctite cordless hot melt glue gun. That's only $13.99. This Master Mechanic cordless screwdriver with charging base and Phillips slotted bit for just $15.99. And the high-powered turbo wash pressure washer is only $13.99 at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Winners know what it takes to win. In this game, it takes more control, more power, more precision, more curve. One ball has it all. One ball dominates winning on the Pro Tour. The Black U-Dot from Columbia 300. The Black U-Dot, the ball of champions. Columbia 300, sold only in lanes or pro shops.
People are always saying to me, Jacko, Relax. But tell me this. If yours really was the longest-lasting battery you could buy and nobody knew it, would you be calm? I think not.
I'm even jazzier in my BVDs.
Hey, I drive even faster in my BVDs.
I'm more intimidating in my BVDs.
BVD brand underwear. Whatever you do, that extra comfort helps you do it better.
I became a TV heartthrob in my BVDs.
America, do it better. Do it in your BVDs.
At my age, I've done just about everything in my BVDs.
Welcome back, everybody. Joe Callaway and John Hricsina in the opening game. At the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center. And this will be an interesting shot for Mr. Callaway.
First one on national TV. Watch the loft. Who says you need experience, huh, Denny?
Well, he retired after 20 years in the Army as a staff sergeant, served in Vietnam and also in Korea, and we asked him, are you nervous? He said, this is a piece of cake tonight.
After Korea and Vietnam, I think it would be.
First good look at John Hricsina on the right-hand lane, tickles the 10, and Hricsina opens up with a strike.
That was interesting, that way that pin carried. That looked like the 6-pin lane there. Came back around, hit it with the neck into the butt of the 10 and knocked it over. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right. Goes over, comes back. Now it turns, hit that other pin and knocked it back into it.
Back to live action, looking for the double to move ahead. 4-9, there goes the 4 finally in the 9-pin stands, and that's a bit of a break for Hricsina.
Interesting, we were talking to Teata Semiz before the telecast. He said lane 60 hooked about 2 boards more than lane 59, yet both of these bowlers thought lane 59 hooked more than 60. Seems like it was right, and when Hricsina went high on his first shot at 59.
Plenty of speed on the cross alley spare attempt for Hricsina with a spare up in the second. Really are 2 stories in this championship. 2 unknown players, relative unknown players to the fans all over the United States, and then 3 prominent players in PBA history on top.
Callaway trying for a double. Last night he needed to win his final match against Glenn Carlson to make it to our championship round. Started with the first 7, shot 259. Piece of cake, huh?
Joe started in 10th after the opening round, then 14th, 15th, 5th, 4th, and then as Mike alluded to in the position round game last night, beat Glenn Carlson to make the telecast this evening.
Oh, just got it.
What are you nervous about? He's the one that's bowling.
He wasn't. You notice he switched balls and used a real shiny ball going for that spare. And ball, that was the right move because the ball went right straight at the spare and didn't hook an inch.
Joe Callaway, 54 years of age, 6'1", 250 pounds, and he posted the best match play record of our 5 finalists. He was 14-4 this week.
Carries that light mixer. Those dots out there, his first row of dots are about 6 feet out on the lane, and he gets it out beyond them. We're going to see here from a side angle. Watch how far out on the lane he gets the ball. Into his slide, way out there. Woo. Don't necessarily recommend that. Hricsina much smoother, lays it down much smoother and softer, but leaves the 2-8. Ball didn't make it up on lane 60 for him.
Playing the big wide arc.
Real soft speed. He varies his speeds. You know, he throws a lot harder at the spares. He gives it a lot more loft at the spares.
John, just a youngster, of course, only 50. Franklin, Pennsylvania, located about midway between Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Erie. And there's the first mistake of the opening game of the championship match as wife and daughter look on and not too pleased with that response.
Do they look alike there?
Yeah, you could tell that would be mother and daughter, couldn't you? Well, now the key is, will John Hricsina be able to bounce back, make a good shot here on 59, and right himself a little bit?
I think he was just striking too much in practice not to get something going. Almost had that 9-pin up there again.
Well, he knocked it down. Last time he left the 4 and that fell. So Hricsina strikes in the 4th to draw back close. But right at this point in time, Callaway leads by 13 in the opening stages.
There's a world of sight and sound waiting for you. A place where you can believe your eyes and ears. Don Raker's Pond. Don Raker's Pond. Don Raker's Pond.
Rifton and Temple.
The appliance place where you can believe your eyes and ears. The appliance place.
Moments. Proud. Gentle. Brave. Loving. Joyful. Special moments from a special service. Introducing Festival. Great entertainment you'll welcome home. Festival. The cable TV channel that meets your needs, matches your tastes and standards. Festival. Classic entertainment commercially uninterrupted. Festival. For the special moments that live in time forever.
And the man who started bowling all the way back in 1962 in Stuttgart, West Germany, could now lead by 23 if he strikes here on the right-hand leg.
For the double. Gets that light hit.
His ball almost leaves the picture, Michael, when he lets it go.
I'm telling you, you hear that boom, boom.
I know one thing for sure. You couldn't fall asleep if you were bowling next to him.
Boy, he definitely gets a bounce on that bowling ball. And he's watching that. Boy, look at that determined look. Smacks those hands.
He looks like he's been out there forever. I think he's probably watched the PBA Summer Tour on ESPN.
For the turkey. Solid. He gets animated. The fans have had a good time watching him all week long. 14-4. He's won a lot of matches.
Interestingly enough, on the television pair, he had games of 205 and 206, an average of 205.5, the lowest of the 5 contestants. Yet this evening, as we get our first re-rack on lane 60, Callaway's off to a fast start.
Hricsina, who was striking more probably than anyone in practice, needs to put some pressure on Callaway with a double right here. Interesting how you can just lose it as soon as those lights get turned on. He just is not throwing the ball the same as what he was in practice. Leaves the 9-10 here. Difficult spare. He's going to have to move to the left. I imagine he'll increase speed and try and fit the ball right between the 2 pins, Dan. Oh, he got it out of the pit.
Well, as my partner nearly has cardiac arrest, Hricsina moves to the left-hand lane, and my, oh my, what a surprise in this one.
Well, watch his 10-pin. It goes back to the back of the pit, bounces up, whack, hits the 9. There's no other way to make it.
Now, see, that's the way you've always tried to make it, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, of course.
Really, fans, he's being facetious there. Once again, the Hricsina family, and obviously smiles coming to their faces after that attempt. Right back at him, and a little trip of the 4, and Hricsina's right back in the match.
Well, he's going to have to do something with this right lane. He's been lost on it, light and high. Where Callaway, on the other hand, has had every ball in the 1-3 pocket.
Commanding lead of 33 pins, and he's working on a 3-bagger here now in the 6th.
2-4-5. He just can't get the ball back on this right lane when he gives it a little bit more room.
Joe's been a member 19 years. Hadn't really bowled that much on the national tour, even at the regional level. As a matter of fact, his career earnings consisting of $2,900. So regardless of what happens to him this evening, he's going to win more money tonight than he has in his whole career.
Switches balls, shoots to the left. No problem with that 2-4-5.
Guarantee at this point in time, too, all of his friends and family at the AAA lanes in Aurora, Colorado, watching right now, glued to the television set, because he also does a lot of teaching there. Told everybody before he left town he just had a feeling about this week's tournament.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Well, he was sure right.
Yep.
Oh, a good feeling on the Brooklyn side. Trips that 6-10 out of there.
Smile for Callaway, who realizes, I think I got away with one there, but I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get here in Las Vegas because it's tough to come by. We'll be back with a conclusion right after this.
As members of the American Bowling Congress, these men receive valuable benefits.
In sanctioned leagues, they know their games count, and standard rules help the fun along. Awards give them proper recognition. They get their shot at national competition, and they're helping our country's Team USA. When these members go bowling, they know being organized is more fun.
Get in league with America. Join the ABC.
Burger King has been invaded by Alf puppets. Please help.
Hey, I'm hungry. Yo, want a Whopper? No problem.
Just $2.99 on a plain broiled Whopper or large sandwich gets you your own Alf. 4 different furry aliens. Each comes with his own record.
'Cause we're doing the Mailbag Rock.
These aliens are friendly, but they're getting out of hand. Hurry, just $2.99 gets another Alf out of here.
We do it like you do it at Burger King. Where'd you park?
July is a total sports celebration on ESPN. Great golf with the British Open and U.S. Women's Open. Race Day America featuring the Grand Prix of France, plus live IMSA and IndyCar excitement. July serves up a pivotal Davis Cup showdown. Baseball's AAA All-Star Game and Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, indoor football's Arena Bowl 88, and Wednesday night PBA Tour action. All in July on ESPN.
Crucial point of the match now for John Hricsina, who trails by 30, but with a double here, he could really cut into the lead. Needs the first one to start, and leaves a solid 10. Tough break.
And his best shot on that right-hand lane, it really was a tough break. You start running out of frames in a hurry when you're trailing by 30 pins, then sometimes those pins just won't cooperate. He's got to make this fair to keep himself in the match. And has it.
Well, he's represented himself very well this week, and of course his son is a player on the PBA National Tour.
He's bowled in many national tours. And there we see that he's trailing by exactly 30 pins after 7 frames. He's in big trouble. He's got to have something good happen for him and something bad for Callaway.
The only mistake for him, basically, the missed spare in the third. Got to get back to the strike zone, high, and on the left-hand lead, this time leaves the solid 4.
And he's been flirting with a little bit tight, a little bit high in the left lane the whole game. Left the 9-pin, tripped the 4, now leaves the 4.
First trip on national television, too, Mike. The game kind of flies by, doesn't it?
Right, yes. Absolutely right, Denny.
Said he felt like he bowled very well all week. Match play record was 12-6. And he averaged a little better than 207 here on lanes 59 and 60, the championship pair here at the Showboat Hotel. Of course, the winner of this game will take on one of the hottest players on the PBA Senior Tour, Teata Semiz, who is at this point in time looking for his 3rd consecutive Seniors Championship, but he's got a long way to go.
And Callaway, with hammer in hand, can put this match away with a couple of strikes. Boy, that's the way to do it. Just dead flush. His best shot seems to be when he plays that little bit tighter line and goes right straight at the pocket and doesn't loop it.
Let me ask you a question. Technically, when you loft the ball that much and you arc it a little bit, isn't it a bit more inconsistent when it's bouncing a little bit?
I would think so, Tim.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't seen anyone recently that lofted the ball as much as Joe is doing. Well, a little chink in the armor right there.
Door swings wide open. Chuck Pierce, our statistician, puts the pencil to the score sheet. And that's the last thing in the world Callaway needed to do at this stage because he had the match comfortably in hand. Key now is to get as many as possible. Oh, my. Callaway tried to put on a trick shot exhibition a little bit later on in the telecast this evening. We'll be showing you some trick shots, but we nearly saw one live.
As we see him just clip this 4-pin, slide it right straight over 180 degrees across to get the 6, and it just misses it. Hricsina must strike here to have any chance to win, and he does. Situation, Denny, is this. John can strike out for 206. That would force Callaway to mark in this match. So, as they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings.
Nope. She's not even humming at this point. Now, of course, if we don't have a strike here, could change the complexion. Key shot.
Very little time. A lot of room. And a lot of pins floating around that 10-pin, but wouldn't knock it over. He just never could get a break the whole game. And it's going to go down into the experience category.
Eyes the overhead scores and realizes that this week has suddenly come to an end. Great experience, though, for John Hricsina, who bowled extremely well this week, and I would venture to say that we might see him in the championship round maybe some other time this summer on ESPN, right? At 50, it's even a learning experience for them, right?
It's a learning experience always, Denny.
Yeah. Well, the fill ball, and of course, that always strikes. 186 for John Hricsina, and a nice check with $4,000. And there's the winner of match number 1, Joe Callaway.
Well, Callaway just trying to keep his stroke and get tuned up for Teata Semiz, who's going to bowl more than 186 at Joe Callaway. I have confidence.
After watching Teata practice, I would venture to say that you're probably right there. Boy, very direct on that right-hand lane, and he is just crunching the pocket.
Watched him that last game last night. That's how he was throwing everyone. Started with the first 7. So,
and looking as relaxed as he did at the very outset of the match. Didn't appear to be too affected by the lights and the cameras and the action.
Maybe he's right. After Korea and Vietnam, this is a piece of cake.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, now he gets a little bit of a wall shot, a la Dick Weber, who is his bowling idol. Said when he was spending that time over in Europe in the armed services, he idolized Dick Weber and said, someday I might get a chance to bowl him on television. That may very well happen here this evening. Weber's qualified number 2.
He wins one more match and he'll get his wish.
Wouldn't that be something, huh? Callaway trying to strike out the 10th, and that's exactly what he does. An excellent game of 222. Hricsina checks out for $4,000. And Callaway will advance on into game number 2. And Joe realizing this just could be the night where he captures his first ever PBA Seniors Championship.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. Put it out, it just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recovering athlete's foot. Use it regularly. It'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good.
You give it your best, so we give you ours, and things keep looking better all the time. Lose sight, it's a science and an art. You get great color from the start. Lose sight when it's coming from the heart. It's the science and the art of painting.
Give it your best. Give it Lucite.
If I don't get a good start in the morning, I might feel peaked. I hate that.
Wheaties, 100% whole wheat, naturally low in sugar. That's champion nutrition.
What the big boys eat.
Opening game from Las Vegas is over. Joe Callaway defeating John Hricsina 226 to 186, or 222, I should say, to 186. Here's a look at the average of the week, Mike Durbin, and 160 entries. I think that's the key largest field ever for the seniors.
Tremendous. The whole field averaged 196. You can see that the right-handers averaged 3 pins more than the left. What you needed to cash was an even 200 average and 210 to make our finals, which is the top 18 in this tournament, as opposed to the top 24 in the national tournament.
I was going to say, this is going to be the toughest finals on the tour, only 18 spots out of 160 entries. Now, let's take a look at some of the other finishes. Tough week for Glenn Carlson, who was close. As a matter of fact, he was 5th heading into the position round game, but was defeated by Callaway.
But he was pleased because he just had a wrist operation and he bowled very well. Tommy Tuttle, who's always been one of my favorite bowlers over the years, finished 7th. Robert Freehoff, a new name to me there. Bob Perry's been in the finals before. Ron Hoppy finished 10th. Les Zykes, who's been a past champion, finished 2nd here a couple years ago. And Darrell Curtis, the only lefty in the top 18.
And also the only player to shoot 300 this week at the Showboat.
Warren Hayes was the biggest hook of all the seniors. Carl Babb from Canton, Shell Wilson, Bob Kwalik in the finals, Arnie Isaacs, and Billy Walden finished 18th.
And as per show on ESPN, we've got a tip from Mike Durbin basically talking about the push-away and the importance of that in the approach. So stay tuned because Michael is up next.
Have you ever started your approach and something just didn't feel quite right? And sure enough, when you got to the foul line and delivered the ball went right or went left, or at least the shot was poor. Well, chances are the culprit could have been a poor push-away. And on tonight's telecast, you're going to see a variety of different push-aways. You've already seen Joe Callaway with his kind of high push and out and down. And you've seen John Hricsina with his low pushaway and almost no very small. And in the ensuing matches, you're going to see 3 of the greatest bowlers in PBA history and their pushaways. In a couple matches, we'll see the only winner that this tournament has ever had, Dick Weber. Dick Weber's pushaway looks something like this. He holds the ball up here, close to his chin, bends his knees just a little bit like this, and then he takes 5 steps from this position, and he moves the ball with his steps. First step goes like this, and he starts down, 2, and it goes like this. A very controlled pushaway. The weaknesses of this is it's very difficult to continually match the speed of your pushaway to your foot speed. So sometimes your feet go a little fast, sometimes your pushaway goes a little fast, and Dick will tell you that he's had timing problems over the years, and many times he feels like he's chasing the ball. In our championship match, we'll see our tournament leader, Carmen Salvino, who's been a star bowler for over 35 years, and he has a unique pushaway, one that he developed himself over 10 years ago. Carmen hangs the ball down like this, gets himself comfortable, then when he's ready to go, he moves his left hand over here, and his foot and arm go together at the same time. This has led to almost flawless timing for Carmen Salvino, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to you. I've used it myself and won a PBA tournament with it. The only prerequisite that you have to have is that you've got to be strong enough to hold the ball down like this. And in our next match, you're going to see the bowler who's dominated the senior tour lately. Teata Semiz has won our last 2 senior events. He has a more orthodox or classical type of pushaway. Teata, like Weber, takes 5 steps. He holds the ball here in both hands, somewhere between the waist and shoulders. As he takes his first step with his left foot, he doesn't move the ball. Then he pushes the ball in the second step out and down like this. That's more or less what I recommend. The only difference is that I still like the 4-step delivery. I like for a bowler to get himself set, or herself, move the ball over here with the weight in both hands, and the only thing I need to think right now is to push and step at the same time. But then on top of that, I want to visualize an imaginary table out there that I'm going to put the ball on. And I go like this, step and push together, the ball out on this imaginary table right there. At this point, the left hand leaves, the ball goes into a free pendulum swing that tells my feet how fast to go, that dictates my timing, and I think it helps improve my hand release. It looks something like this. Get myself set. We're ready to go. There you have it. Watch the pushaway tonight of Teata Semiz, Dick Weber, and Carmen Salvino. See which one you like best. But remember, I recommend to push out to that imaginary table. We'll see you again next week when we'll have another Average Builder.
And coming up next, a big match between Joe Callaway, the newcomer, and of course, the old pro, Teata Semiz. We'll be right back with the start of that.
Wait for something good to happen. Make it happen with the clean, masculine scent of English leather cologne.
Some guys have what others want. Some guys have it all.
English leather. Some guys have it all.
Since you don't buy a refrigerator every day.
I should have bought a Frigidaire. I finally got a Frigidaire.
Ask for the one that lasts and lasts.
I should have bought a Frigidaire. I finally got a Frigidaire.
For the Frigidaire dealer nearest you, call 1-800-451-7007.
I'll take the Frigidaire. Now.
Frigidaire, here today, here tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Showboat Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Teata Semiz. Butterfly's got to be flipping around a little bit in the pit of his stomach. He's looking for Seniors Championship number 3 in a row, and he'll have to beat Joe Callaway to take the first step.
Teata does look a little bit uptight. He gets that way, but once he gets going, if he can get some of that adrenaline moving, he can sure throw some strikes.
Callaway with a 222-186 victory over John Hricsina in game number 1. Has his hands full here.
First one,
Solid 10, first time for Joe Callaway. At least in this match.
Joe's average for the week, 214.4. Year-to-date average, 202.3.
And we have another face up here behind us on the platform up here, Denny. He's hiding from you. Bowler is going on next. Dick Weber's up here scoping out the lanes.
Now, how can he be that loose? He's bowling in the semifinal game, and he's up here clowning with you and I. The man obviously is confident about the title match and the semifinal game.
He's always confident.
Well, when you've won 29 times, there's good reason to be.
Five steps, good deep knee bend, right to the nose. He didn't do that the whole practice session. 4, 6, 10. Just pointed it right up there.
Obviously not very happy with the opening attempt here in game number 2, and the seasoned veteran that time making the mistake to open up the match.
Well, in a way, sometimes that's not so bad, because a lot of times when you're nervous, the first thing that happens to you is you get... There's Dick hiding behind us here.
He's the handsome one between us.
Right, at least with me, is I get soft with the ball, and that's exactly what Teata did. But as soon as you leave that open, sometimes those butterflies leave immediately, and the regular stroke comes right back.
Well,
how do you pronounce that? Wanacue?
Yep. Better not waste much time getting lined up, because I have a feeling Mr. Callaway would like to make it 2 in a row.
Well, he's wasted a little bit of time here. Something upsetting back here. I don't know. Could he hear us? I don't think so. Left the Greek church. The 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. He's going to shoot, I think, for the 3 pins on the right for the 6, 9, 10. Something's happening around here. I don't know exactly what it is.
I don't think it was us. I think it might be a beeper that's gone off. Give it a run. Teata Semiz gives it a try, but the hole is a deep one here after 2 frames.
He's playing out right around the 8th board. Gives a good loft, right around 7 or 8. The ball breaks too quick right there, right through the heart of the pins. Gets half of them, exactly.
Wow, when you see the Greek church, and it's not Sunday, you've got some problems. Callaway tries to take advantage, but the 2 pin stands.
And we see the difference in styles here. Callaway playing a little bit deeper in the lane, more loft, going more direct. Teata going around, and usually Teata goes very direct and doesn't hook the ball that much, but it's interesting that he's hooking it more right now. Uh-oh. Runs right by it, a mistake. And Teata's not out of this match yet. Only 11 pin difference. You open up with 2 opens. He switched balls, took the 2 pin for granted. This is not nerves, this is just carelessness.
Doesn't look like there's much in between the ball and the pin, but there obviously is.
Enough to miss it.
Yeah, saving the wood. So Callaway with a miscue of his own in frame number 2 will try and bounce back. Oh, for a minute there.
He had the sour apple up there for a minute.
Callaway, he's saying, now, wait a minute here. I may not have thrown it great, but watch this. The 7 pin almost stood.
Watch this. We're going to see it here. For those who don't know what the sour apple is, as it 7 pin just barely falls, is when you leave the 5, 7, 10. And Callaway looking at it saying, come on. Uh-oh. Oh, no. He's got to hit the 5 pin on the left to try and make it. He's got a chance. Ooh, I thought he nicked that 10 pin and it didn't fall over.
Look at the 10 pin wiggle a little bit. And we have seen 4 opens in 5 frames. What a turnaround. In the opening game, Callaway throws 9 strikes.
In order to get 9 strikes now, he's going to have to strike out.
Well, let's see if Semiz can dig in and pull himself up by the bootstraps.
Teata just needs to move a little bit left on the approach. He left a lot of those in practice. Left a lot of solid 10s on this right lane in practice.
This could be survival of the fittest.
Well, he's back in the match, and that's the biggest thing. You open the match with 2 opens, and you're even. If he makes this, he's even, that is.
That's kind of hard to believe. That's like... second, third, and fourth life, all in a very short span of time. I know that through the last couple of years, you and I have talked about the fact that when you win your first game on national television, you have a tendency to let down. Maybe Callaway did that, and there you see Tommy Semiz, Teata's son, looking on, and I wouldn't say he's confident at this point, but he knows Dad will probably pull through.
Well, he's watched him win a lot of matches over the years. Yeah. That's true, Dan. Sometimes it affects different players different ways. I know that when I won my first match, it usually just pumped me up and got me going. With some guys, if that's their goal to win a game, then there is that letdown.
Trying to get a strike to set things up here, and there is an excellent shot by Semiz on lane 59. So Teata will breathe a little easier, and Callaway trying to look for some air at this point. Both players struggling, but it's close. We'll be back.
Buying a new car today isn't easy. Neither is building an addition to your home. And you never know when you'll need a major appliance. One thing is easy. Talking to the people at Great Valley Savings. They'll show you how their Equiplus home equity loan can help and explain how their low fixed rate loan will make the things you need affordable. Borrow the smart way with a fixed rate home equity loan from Great Valley Savings.
At DL Motors, you'll never be surprised by any upside-down deals. At DL Motors, you'll find a wide selection of quality pre-owned economy and sporty cars, all priced to fit any budget. Let the professionals at DL Motors make you flip over your next car.
We're Golf USA, with the largest selection of Pro-Line golf equipment in Berks County, all at generous discount prices. When it comes to the game of golf, we're the experts to know. Golf USA in Berkshire Mall West.
It's a title that has eluded some of golf's greatest names, and an event where golf's legends have made their mark. The U.S. Open Championship, Thursday and Friday, live on ESPN.
And don't forget, coming up on ESPN tomorrow and also on Friday, live first-round coverage of the U.S. Open Golf Championship, one of the prestigious events in golf. And you're going to watch it on ESPN. At the Country Club in Brookline, Massachusetts, par 71. The rough isn't quite as severe, Mike Durbin, and the scores may be a little lower, and you'll have to watch it on ESPN. Back to the Showboat, though, in Las Vegas. Callaway coming back from the commercial break with an excellent shot in the fourth frame, and we are even Steven now. This match is tied.
Well, it's just going to be a six-frame match from here on out, then. He said enough of that light hit. I'm going to get it up a little bit higher and get that 5-pin out of there.
All right. I'm going to ask you the inevitable question. Did you ever leave the 5-7-10?
Oh, many times.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
And you admit to it?
Oh, of course.
All right. He's honest, folks. There you see the recap. Even Steven. And a big double for Callaway, who comes bounding back here in game number 2.
And he says, take that, Teata Semiz. I'm not afraid of you.
Well, there's no defense in bowling. The only way you can go out there and beat the other guy is to throw strikes.
No, but we'll see what happens if Teata gets a couple strikes here.
Okay.
Teata, who's into this match now. I mean, the nerves have left. Now the talent's coming out.
Teata Semiz, 28 years a member of the Professional Bowlers Association, 6 PBA titles, 3 of those seniors events, 26 career 300 games.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. This is a good match. Started off kind of rocky, but both players now
settling down for the lead. Gave it a lot of room. And it crept up there high for the fourth pin. He threw that ball a couple boards right, and it hooked it quick.
Well, the observation between you and myself, the left-hand lane, I think, is hooking a little more than the right.
Well, watch it here. This ball gets out around the 6th board, I think. It goes out maybe even to the 5th down the lane here, and watch it snap up high, leaving that 4-pin. No trouble with a spare.
Now the opportunity swings back to Joe Callaway, who is working on a double. And now in the 6th frame. Winner of this game takes on Mr. Weber.
Captain of the Showboat.
Yep, and he's been a handful here over the years.
One leaves a 4-pin and the other trips it. That's the difference sometimes between winning and losing. Watch the 2-pin, 3rd from the left. It goes to the wall. Gets both the 4 and the 7. Billy Hardwick made that hit famous.
I was going to say, the player who probably tripped more fours than anybody in the history of the game, Billy Hardwick, stopped by here just a couple of minutes ago to say hello. He'd be smiling right now if he had seen that four.
Up by 11, trying for 21. It says this game's easy.
Well, Joe Callaway talked about someday getting the opportunity perhaps to bowl Dick Weber. Well, that dream may just come true. He leads by 21, and he's riding high here in game number 2.
Introducing Kodacolor Gold 100.
I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors shining through.
Kodacolor Gold 100 gives you the most accurate colors, the truest colors of any print film.
Don't be afraid to let them show.
A new Kodacolor Gold.
Your true colors.
Listen to the great day.
Cut loose. Listen to the cool crisp. A rhythm that you can't miss. Salads all fresh all day. Come on and listen to the great taste. Good time, great taste. Cause fresh all day in my place.
Listen to the great day.
Cut loose.
If you're going to make it on the PBA Tour, whether it's the normal tour, the national tour, or the seniors tour, you have to strike under pressure, and that position now is where Teata Semiz is.
Trailing by 21. 7th frame. A little soft, but he got away with it. Coming back out of that commercial, he didn't have the adrenaline flowing quite as much to keep that speed up.
It appears the wider he throws it,
the quicker it hooks.
Yeah.
He's got to keep his speed up, and he's got to keep the line a little bit more direct, like Callaway's doing. But he must strike on this shot if he wants to put some pressure on Callaway.
Well, both Hricsina and Semiz have circled the ball a little bit, and they've struggled.
Good speed. Boy, was that a nice shot. That's a very professional shot by a very professional bowler.
Through the years, I think most of the players on the tour would agree that Teata Semiz in the clutch, pretty valuable performer.
Just dead flush. All 10 pins wind up in the pit. Remember, 10 pins in the pit was a 2-pointer. Just a strike was 1-pointer. When you didn't strike, it's -2. High. Through the nose and leaves the 3-6, and Teata Semiz says, I'm still alive.
That, you think, maybe the key shot in the match thus far there in the 8th?
No, not yet, Dan. I really don't think so yet, but all that match, if I were sitting on the bench in Teata's place right now, I would just say, hey, the pressure's reaching him a little bit. I've still got a chance.
Still some spare work left on lane 60.
No trouble. See, we're down to a 9-pin match right now. And the best that Callaway can get, if he strikes out, is 225. Where Teata, right now, his fate's in his own hands because he can go out for 226.
There you see it shown graphically. This Showboat PBA Seniors Invitational, the first of 12 PBA Summer Tour stops live on ESPN.
Very important shot for Callaway. Looks good. Boy, it is good.
Well, he puts himself in a position with that strike in the 9th to at least make a run in the 10th.
And again, the key for Teata is that speed, Denny. He must keep that speed up, especially on this right lane. Remember, I can't talk tonight. Remember, he said the right lane for him was hooking 2 boards more than the left.
A little more speed this time. Likes the shot, but the 4-pin stands, and
somebody must have said something off to the left. Teata looked over there. Makes it a 10-pin match right now. It's still a tight ball game. He must make this spare, and what Teata's going to have to do is strike out in the 10th frame to make Callaway strike.
Teata Semiz not one to look for
excuses.
Exactly. But apparently someone has dislodged his concentration. It happened in the very first frame. First and the second.
Teata looks up at the score, at the automatic scores here at the Showboat lanes, realizes the task at hand, you must take them one at a time. There you see, he's down exactly 10 pins, and Callaway has the strike up. Gave it a lot of room. Boy, did that ball come back.
Possibility of a tie match here should Semiz strike out.
Absolutely. A lot of different possibilities right here. Big shot coming up right now. He's got to strike on this shot to really put some pressure on Callaway. Another 4-pin, 3 of them in the match.
Time now running out for Teata Semiz with a spare will shoot 195.
And Callaway simply needs a spare or strike in the 10th frame. He must mark, though. He must mark in order to win. Teata was the odds-on favorite coming into this match, but the underdog has a chance to take one step closer to bowling his idol.
Pretty plain and simple right now. Joe Callaway needs a mark of any kind, and then some count.
That's the best kind of mark there is. Get that strike.
Ran it out and sent it home, and Teata Semiz realizes that the best he will finish this week is 4th and collect a check worth $4,500.
And his goal of 3 in a row is gone.
Well, no one had ever won 2 in a row before Teata had accomplished that feat. Joe Callaway out of Aurora, Colorado. A bit of a surprise here this evening. An unknown quantity coming in. He's making his presence known here at the Showboat in Las Vegas. And he, right now, is having a time of his life.
He fell asleep there in the 2nd and 3rd frames, but then had 6 out of the next 7 strikes in order to bail this match out.
Savoring the victory over Semiz. He's already defeated John Hricsina 222 to 186. Spare is up on the cross alley attempt. So it's 214 to 195 as Teata congratulates Joe Callaway. And Callaway will now advance into the semifinal game against his idol, the great one from St. Louis, the Hall of Famer, Dick Weber. Come on back. That should be interesting, to say the least.
The upset of the week is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need. At the 24 Hours of Le Mans, Porsche had been the dominant racing machine, winning the last 7 races. But this year, Le Mans belonged to the British and the Jaguar team. The team of Lammers, Dumfries, and Wallace held off the factory Porsche team in an unusually close race for Jaguar's first win in 31 years. Our Pepto-Bismol upset of the week.
Hey, I have to get ready for the party, too, you know.
I don't know if I'm going.
Is something wrong?
Kind of sick.
Oh, diarrhea?
Mm-hmm.
I know what you need. It's in the medicine cabinet.
Pepto.
Here it comes. The soothing relief of Pepto-Bismol. The one that coats is the only one you need.
Feeling better?
Let's party.
Normally when the professionals go out and bowl each and every week on the national tour, they try to do nothing but throw strikes. And if they don't strike, they try and pick up the spare. But Brunswick Advisory staff members John Petraglia and Mark Roth had a little fun with some trick shots. And now we're going to take a look at those. And, of course, you wouldn't want to do that in your local bowling center. Mike Durbin was always full of tricks in his days on the PBA National Tour. Michael, any observations there from Mr. Roth and Mr. Petraglia?
Well, it looked like they were having a good time, Dan. I don't know. I was never very good at trick shots. I tried a few in my career, but I never did master them like they seem to. Andy Varapampa was the one who always had all the different trick shots. We used to watch him on Ripley's Believe It or Not years ago.
The gentleman standing to your right is always full of tricks. The top seed in this one, of course, Carmen Salvino.
With me is the tournament leader in this tournament, Carmen Salvino. You bowled great so far this week, Carmen.
Well, that's true. I've got the momentum going now. It's a one-game match, but anything can happen in a one-game match.
Carmen, just how long have you been bowling competitively?
37 years professionally, and that's it.
37 years, yet you still have the enthusiasm of a rookie. How do you manage to do that?
Well, I've always been a student of the sport of bowling and sports in general, and I figured as long as there are different conditions coming out, different balls, I study that all the time, and it keeps me enthused. I'd never get bored.
You never suffer from burnout?
Never, never.
You and Weber have both been great bowlers for many, many, many years. How have you done against each other in the past?
Well, it's strange. We've bowled a lot of tournaments together. We've bowled on a lot of television telecasts together, but we've never bowled each other head up.
Never once in all those years.
In 37 years. That's unbelievable. But let me just say this. As far as I'm concerned, for longevity, Dick Weber's the greatest bowler that ever lived.
Well, I'm happy to hear you say that. He's going to bowl Joe Callaway right now. Are you kind of secretly hoping in your heart you're going to get a chance to bowl Weber after all these years?
Well, maybe it's about time we bowl each other. Let's see what happens.
He says he's ready for Weber, but it may be Callaway. Denny, we'll see who it is.
Oh, I think he's ready for just about anybody right now, the top seed, Carmen Salvino. But before that happens, it's Callaway and Weber, and we're here in Las Vegas. Anything can happen, so stay tuned.
Budweiser and Bud Light join with USA Today to give baseball fans something new. Now, for the first time, you can also pick up an official All-Star fan ballot, free wherever you pick up Bud or Bud Light. Vote for your favorite Major League players. Then, test your talent for baseball trivia and win valuable prizes.
Okay, maybe... maybe not.
You like this guy at third? How about this...
No, come on.
Do you, What National League catcher played 11 consecutive All-Stars?
Says here it was me.
Johnny Bench! Hey, how you doing?
Answers are in USA Today every day. So to fans everywhere, settle back with a cold Bud or Bud Light. Vote for the players you want to see in the All-Star game and be part of a baseball tradition.
Delivery. Swinging a shot in the right center field may not be caught.
For sports news, turn to the experts. Experts who take you wherever sports happen, whatever time of day. ESPN Sports Center, America's sports authority.
It won't take very long, and all of you out there are going to get a chance to see a dream come true, because the smile there on Joe Callaway, that's what it's all about. All these years, he's idolized Dick Weber, and he's going to get a chance to bowl Mr. Weber in the semifinal game. Whoever wins against Salvino in the title match, though, wins this unique trophy at the Showboat.
Well, it's going to be a big moment in Joe Callaway's life. I know he's got to be excited. Weber, I think, is a little nervous, though.
Well, two very talented players, one with 29 titles and one looking for his first. We'll be back to find out what happens right after these messages.
Don't let just anyone monkey around with your car stereo system. At Jerry's Discount Stereo and Video, our professionals can assist you in the selection and proper installation of a car stereo and accessories. Jerry carries some of the best names in car stereo equipment: Kenwood, Blaupunk, Jensen, Pioneer, and Clarion, just to mention a few. So why let just anyone install your car stereo system while Jerry's Discount Stereo and Video is on the 5th Street Highway in Reading? And say hi to this guy while you're there.
It has been said that love is blind.
Maybe you'd like some wine with your nose.
It's not the size of a nose that's important. It's what's in it that matters.
Steve Martin's most critically acclaimed performance.
I want to look like Diana Ross.
Daryl Hannah as the object of his affections.
Charlie, you have a big nose.
In the comedy hit, Roxanne.
Say, who mows your nose hair?
Introducing Stanley cordless tools with power that won't quit. Because unlike many other cordless tools, the new Stanley cordless drill and cordless screwdriver are designed with removable, rechargeable battery packs. So the only time they stop working is when you do.
You know what really burns me up? My feet. Athlete's foot kept flaring up. I get rid of it for a while, but it'd just flare up again. Finally, I went to the doctor. He told me to get Tenactin. It's what doctors and pharmacists recommend most. Tenactin even cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly like they tell you, and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Fast-acting Tenactin puts athlete's foot out for good.
Mr. Weber and Mr. Callaway as they meet now for the first time ever in competition. Mr. Callaway averaging now 218 for 2 games, and he'll start on the left-hand lane in the semifinal game here.
He's averaging over 7 strikes a game for the first 2 games, so
maybe this is all a dream and we're just a part of it.
You think so, Dan?
You never know. You want to pinch me? No, don't, Mike, please.
I know that Dick Weber wants to get off to a quick start. It's been his style, his game plan throughout his career. Oh, the bad break right out of the gate leaves the swishing 7.
5-pin jutting just in front of the 7. I think he liked that shot.
Yeah, I did too. I thought he thought he had it. He was walking over to the left lane already.
Led this tournament for a while this week. Was first after the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. And he and Salvino, make no mistake about it, were in a dogfight all week long.
Especially the last 6 or 7 games. They were just back and forth, wound up Salvino coming out on top in the last game.
Right. Weber led by 5 pins heading into the position round game.
And look at those career earnings. I think his son's won more than that, though. You know, so it's amazing.
Yes. Pete has already surpassed that mark, and I'm sure he's probably mentioned that a couple of times to Richard. But Weber continues to chip away here on the Seniors Tour.
Oh, 7-pin, 10-pin. 2 bad breaks right out of the gate. It may be Callaway's night all the way down the line. Semiz comes out open, and Weber comes out tap.
Dick Weber this week with just 1 game here in the position round segment on lanes 59 and 60, and he shot a neat 246. It's been a good pair to him through the years.
Well, he's won at least 2 titles on it.
Funny, Dick made a remark. He said, Denny, when I won my first tournament here at the Showboat back in 1963, they had only 32 lanes. For those of you who have yet to come to Las Vegas, they now have 106. That's progress. Well, the Weber wall shot this time falls for Callaway.
It's amazing. He just keeps throwing those strikes. Watch it come in light here. Almost hits the arrows on the fly. Watch the head pin. See the damage it does. The ball will deflect, and the 4.57 is standing there, and the head pin comes back, and that's the classic wall shot.
Did you see the ball go right around the 5?
Oh, yeah.
Never touched it. But when you got it going.
He's there.
And that time he was down on 1 knee. I'm not sure if that was more for him or for Mr. Weber.
I'll tell you what. It'd be something to see this guy went through Semiz, Weber, and Salvino to win his first title.
Don't say it. Boy, would that be something, huh? And for all of you senior players out there, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. Just what I was thinking. I'll tell you what. I think this is a big shot coming up in this next frame.
Dick Weber has got to put some pressure on this man because he's just getting ahead of everybody, and everybody's playing catch-up to him.
30 years a member of the PBA, 29 career titles. Averaged 221.9 this week, so he knocked down some pins. Needs a big double here, though.
See if he stays down. Oh, he did. He stayed down 9. And got his little light hit.
And so Weber raises the right hand and smiles and sits down, and boy, they don't even look at each other at this stage. A little psych job going on, perhaps. Back with a conclusion right after this.
Dan Miller waited a long time to see this. He almost missed it. Not long ago, Dan had a heart attack.
Strength and perseverance.
Since then, his doctor prescribed a regimen of exercise, the right foods, and a Bayer aspirin a day. Studies show aspirin can help prevent a second heart attack.
He was always there when I needed him.
Ask your doctor how Bayer may help you.
I love you, Dad.
Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
People are always saying to me, Jacko, relax. But tell me this, if yours really was the longest lasting battery you could buy and nobody knew it, would you be calm? I think not.
Round of lights here?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
The thing to watch right here is to see if Weber stays down at the foul line. Watch the knee bend and see if he stays down. Down all the way. Even though you see him come up, that's good for Dick. That was after the ball's gone. Watch the light hit. The head pin does the damage and gets that 7 pin eventually.
Well, was Weber learning from Callaway that wall shot, or was it the other way around, I should say?
There's our view that we have looking down. You might notice this little plexiglass screen that we've got in front of us so the bowlers can't hear us talking. Callaway working on 3, ahead by 11, can increase it to 21. Oh, I thought he'd given it too much room, Dan, but the ball came back. Weber looks over and just shakes his head.
Dick changes chairs, and in the back of his mind is thinking, you know, for 22 years, this guy's been waiting for me, and I think he found me.
Out on patrol, huh?
Well, the staff sergeant, retiring after 20 years, is turned into a drill instructor right at this point.
One more. 5 in a row.
Now, the only question is, when he dreamed that he beat Dick Weber, did he shoot 300?
Watch this one. Never a doubt. His reaction is really interesting, too. He gives it a little karate shot back. Whoa. Watch him pull it back. Wouldn't want to be in the way of that right hand coming back.
Weber looking for the turkey on the right-hand lane. He likes the shot, and he slaps that 10-pin out, so Weber answering the challenge.
This is as calm as I've seen Dick all week long. He has a way of rising to the occasion, as all great champions do. This gets him back within 11, if he can get one more here. Again, the thing to watch is to see if he stays down at the foul line or whether he comes up. He has a tendency to rush and to come up at the line. Came up a little bit. But it came, ball hooked back and left that solid 10. He's got 2 solid 10s now and a 7-pin.
Well, Weber has flat labeled the pocket.
Watch the ball finish right at the end and a 6-pin, second from the right. It wasn't even close. It never really got close to that 10. Cross lane at the 10-pin. If he makes it, he's 22 down. Always been a great spare shooter. He's a presence on the lane. He's always been that way. He has that charisma.
Well, it's like being paired with Jack Nicklaus and playing in the Masters. His presence is worth 10 pins, huh?
Not the Callaway. A lot of room. Too much. Well, a chink in the armor. The 1, 2, 4, 10 washout. Crowd gives him an applause.
You see him, he just got rid of it. Not that far right of target, no lift. The ball slides right here, hooks back right in that dead zone. He has to hit the head pin on the left to send the head pin over into the 10 to make the washout. Not enough. Not enough, and he's open, and we got a very tight match.
So a hitch of the pants there for Callaway, and the door creaking open just slightly for Dick Weber. 6-pin match right now. Callaway on top by 6, and he now shoots in the 7th. Keep in mind the winner of this game will take on the spook, Carmen Salvino, for the title.
Right back in there. Boy, he drilled that one in there.
Did you see the 4-pin, or was that the 7? Oh, my. Took a real spanking there on the left-hand lane. He leads by 6, but that tune could change if Weber doubles in the 7th and the 8th. Don't go away. That's coming up next.
I should have bought a Frigidaire.
There's only one Frigidaire.
I should have bought a Frigidaire.
Ask for it by name.
I'll take the Frigidaire. Now.
Frigidaire. Here today, here tomorrow.
All you need to know about great selection and low prices is here, inside the newest circular from True Value Hardware Stores. Check out the Father's Day circular for the Loctite cordless hot melt glue gun. That's only $13.99. This Master Mechanic cordless screwdriver with charging base and Phillips slotted bit for just $15.99. And the high-powered turbo wash pressure washer is only $13.99 at participating True Value Hardware Stores and home centers.
It's a title that has eluded some of golf's greatest names, and an event where golf's legends have made their mark. The U.S. Open Championship, Thursday and Friday, live on ESPN.
Get the complete business news before you get to work. Watch Nation's Business Today with Carl Grant and Merrill Comer. Get the latest word from Washington, Wall Street, and the world. Make it your first order of business each morning, right here on ESPN.
The First Lady of Bowling, always standing by and enjoying the action, Juanita Weber, and she's pulling for Richard at this point. Throw a couple of strikes here in the 7th and the 8th, don't you think?
She's ready to kick him in the rear and say, get going.
Although he has thrown the ball well.
He certainly has. Score doesn't reflect it.
Taps in this game are tough.
See if you can keep that speed up coming out of the commercial. Perfect. Interesting that he chose to finish on the left lane, Dan, because he has just drilled lane 60.
Looks up this way at the broadcast booth with a little smile and nearly tumbles over Callaway. Joe kind of chuckles and says, Mr. Weber, I'll be out of your way here in just a second. Got to be tough to bowl somebody like that, a legend and an idol, you know? What do you say to him?
Mr. Weber is probably exactly what he said.
I'm sure that's what Joseph is saying.
This is to take the lead for the first time in the match. Did that ball come back?
Woo! Old fingers Weber there, huh?
I've never seen him throw that much hook.
I think he was even surprised.
Watch him. Classic style of Dick Weber. Gets it out almost to the first arrow, and that ball comes whistling right on back, and watch the 6-pin get the 10 this time. Just barely.
Back to live action. Callaway in the 8th. And this time he leads the half 10. Don't know if he squeezed that shot a little bit or not, but he trails by 4, and it's the first time he's trailed in the match.
Almost the first time he's trailed all day.
Yep.
Just the difference of more speed and going more direct where the lane's a little bit tighter. Weber certainly, believe it or not, a little bit, and having the power on the ball to knock that 10 out, and Callaway didn't. Has the spare.
Don't forget the best doubles team in Bristol, Connecticut. John Strike Sanders and also Eric Clean Game Clemens, of course, will be standing by at Sports Center, 11:30, with everything that you'd ever want to know about what happened in the world of sports today, Mike Durbin. And no, the Lakers and Pistons does not play today. That's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Right.
Callaway looking for a strike in the 9th frame. trailing by 4. Knocks it out there, but increases his deficit to 5 pins if he makes this spare.
With the spare and then striking out in the 10th, the best possible scenario for Callaway, 233. 258 if Weber would take it off the sheet.
Well, you have the old story. Callaway hasn't been here that often. Weber's been here many, many times before, so you'd think advantage Weber right now. Up by 5 pins, can nail him. 2 strikes. Strike here, strike in the 10th, and the match is history. In fact, a strike here in decent count and mark in the 10th, and the match is history.
Experience the key factor in this match. Weber really never getting shaken.
Quick, high. Oh, did that ball set?
Oh, Juanita looks on and says, Richard, no way should that have struck. And Weber gets away with one that looked like, I don't want to say it, but a chicken wing special.
Now watch him. He's left the target, and the ball's just sliding. It's not really turning over, and it holds pocket all the way. There was just more oil there that held that ball from going high. And he says, all right. Well, he didn't pull a Carmen Salvino hitch up the pants.
No. Dick didn't have a sore back, but he was kind of pleading that time. Now he's going to run this one out. And they both finally go. So Weber will advance, and for the first time ever, get a chance to bowl a man he has gone heads up with for more than 30 years, Carmen Salvino.
And we watch. He almost has a pocket 7-10. They're both standing. The 7-pin falls, and Weber's in the way. The messenger head pin comes back and gets the 10.
And all he does is blow on his fingers and walk back and say, hey, I had it in the bag.
He says, everybody says only my son can hook the ball, but I can too.
Well, the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center has been a marvelous place through the years for Dick Weber. As a matter of fact, he is the head pro at the Showboat in Atlantic City.
He might as well be here. He just keeps winning every tournament they have here.
Well, It's amazing. The Weber family really has a stronghold on the Showboat. Of course, Pete won the U.S. Open there. And Richard now has won 3 and looking for maybe more. And, of course, Pete has won here as well at the Showboat in Las Vegas. Yes, he does. 258 for Weber, 9 strikes, and he finished strong with the last 6.
9 strikes in that game. What a game. And the 3 he didn't strike were all good shots.
So a third-place finish and a $5,000 check in a night that Joe Callaway will never forget.
And he blows him out of there.
It ended a little shorter, a little sooner than he thought, but what an experience.
Interesting. This is going to be his highest game, and he's going to lose with it.
That's what happens when you get up that ladder, though, Mike. Competition gets a little tougher.
Those idols are tough to beat.
They sure are. The dream is now effectively turned into not a nightmare, but I think Joe woke up a little bit. Maybe in the 6th.
Well, definitely the key shot in that match, I think, was when he left that washout back in the 6th frame. Weber took advantage of it.
Callaway had the first 5.
Although it could have been the 9th frame where Weber got that fortunate strike. The ball held pocket for him. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, with Weber's shots in the 1st, the 2nd, and the 6th, and he didn't actually get any breaks there. Those were all 3 tackles. Nice finish for Joe Callaway. His first ever appearance on national television. He loses in the semifinal game, but nevertheless, 258 to 233, not too bad, especially when you have to bowl your idol. Big title game coming up next, but before that, of course, we're going to take a look at the bowling news.
Hi there. You looking for Mr. Wright?
Give this guy a light. And Bud Light here.
Ask for Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Thanks. Keep the change.
Napa's Best Tool Sale has the best deals on our best tools. Like this Napa 22-piece socket set for only $19.95. And Napa's best quality hand tools are guaranteed for life. Our sale, unfortunately, is not.
Well, fancy this. Faucets, so fabulous, they appear to cost a fortune, but don't. For these are Price Vista faucets. are more than pretty faces. They're forged with a heart of solid brass, so you'll discover they're very fuss-free. All this at prices that make them a find, a real find. So do yourself a favor. Get a Price Vista, the fabulous faucet with a funny name.
Welcome to the first edition of the Bowling News. Each and every week this summer on ESPN, I'll be updating you on the latest tournament results and also the latest stories in the sport of bowling. So without further ado, let's get down to the brass tacks and find out what's been happening in the sport since last we spoke. The ultimate honor in any sport is to be elected into its Hall of Fame. And the best of bowling's best received their little piece of forever in some very moving ceremonies in Reno, Nevada, Jacksonville, Florida, and also Akron, Ohio. At Reno, during its annual convention of the Women's International Bowling Congress, longtime officer Lo Borshak and many-time champion Virginia Norton were honored. In Jacksonville, at the site of its annual championships, the ABC officially inducted broadcaster Chris Schenkel, journalist Mort Luby Jr., and, of course, on-the-lane competitors Johnny Gunther, Eddie Jackson, and also Bill Tucker. And at the Dinner of Champions in Akron, Ohio, the Professional Bowlers Association opened its Hall of Fame doors to longtime bowling teacher John Jowdy and also familiar television performers Barry Asher and then two other outstanding players, Mike McGrath and also Gary Dickinson. College bowling has long been the sleeping giant of the sport, but over the last couple of years, it started to awaken just a bit. The Bowling Writers Association of America annually rates the top college teams, the top 20 teams in both the women's and men's division each and every year. The 1988 poll, well, when it wrapped up, the Wichita State Shockers were on top in the men's division, and as far as the ladies were concerned, it was Penn State. Garnering a total of 376 votes, the Shockers, under the direction of head coach Gordon Vatican, nailed down the #1 position, while the Cornhuskers of Nebraska finished up with 2 first-place tallies. And, of course, representing the Big Ten, Michigan State also capped off a fine season. Meanwhile, spearheading Penn State's drive to the top was Jackie Sellers, a junior who has now been named the top female collegiate bowler for the 2nd year in a row. The Lady Shockers ended up #2, while Indiana State, San Jose State, and Morehead State filled out the upper echelon. Continuing in the collegiate ranks out in Denver, Colorado, Erie Community College and West Texas State won the national championships. Utilizing the unique Baker scoring system, Erie Community College registered a record 299 en route to upsetting Wichita State, while on the other side of the ledger, in the women's division, plenty of excitement out there in Denver, Colorado, West Texas State ended up in the winner's circle, and congratulations to them. A dozen league bowlers, 6 men and 6 women, surviving out of 300,000, attempted to really put on a big show in St. Louis just a couple of weeks ago in the finals of this year's Budweiser National Hall of Fame tournament. It was a very exciting event indeed in St. Louis. Taking full advantage of an all-expense-paid trip to St. Louis, amateur Doug Hawkins of Lancaster, California, teamed up with WIBC Hall of Famer Betty Morris to edge defending champion Dick Weber and his partner Jerry Beattie, 394 to 393. For the victory, Betty and Doug celebrated by splitting a check worth $15,000. There's a reason why Pete McCordick of Houston, Texas is smiling even more these days. As a result of his emotional victory in the $125,000 Fresno Open, Pete has been recently named as the Bowling Writers Association of America Bowler of the Month. Not only did Peter bank $18,000 for the win, but he's also now invited to the '89 Firestone Tournament of Champions. And while we're on that subject, Mark Williams, as a result of his exciting 237 to 214 victory over Tony Westlake in the '88 version of the Firestone Tournament of Champions, he was also honored by the BWAA as their Bowler of the Month for the month of April. And now let's join Mike Durbin with a recap at this point.
Well, in the first match, we had the 2 rookie seniors, Callaway bowling Hricsina, and Hricsina just never seemed to get untracked, was fishing on that right lane the whole game. Callaway drilling the pocket the whole game, 222 to 186. Then in the next match, Teata Semiz, who we figured was going to bowl very, very well. He bowled well in practice, won the previous 2 senior events. Callaway didn't seem to stand much of a chance, but Teata opened up the game with 2 straight opens. Callaway obliged, getting 2 opens behind him, but then he got 6 out of the next 7 strikes to win the match. Teata left 3 4-pins, 2 of them at inopportune time, especially one in the 10th frame. Callaway won that one, 214 to 195. In the match that we just watched, Dick Weber got behind early as Callaway came storming out against his idol with 5 straight strikes. But Weber hung right in there, kept his composure, got 9 strikes, the last 6 in a row to win the match, 258 to 233, to set up this ideal match coming up.
I was going to say, Callaway, Semiz, and Hricsina notwithstanding, the fans here, the fans all over the country, perhaps want to see a lockup between the two legends, in essence, two players that have bowled each other numerous times over the past 30 years in match play and exhibitions, competitions, but never on national television. That's what we're about to see, and what do you think, Mr. Durbin?
Well, I think that both of them wanted to see this match. I think that Salvino, when he was interviewing with me, he really, in his heart, wants to bowl Weber, and Weber wanted to bowl Salvino. And what I'm looking for, Denny, is I'm really looking for a high-scoring match. Weber is lined up. Salvino has the ability to come out and bowl excellent games when he has these one-game matches. I'm looking for a 240, 230 type match.
There you see Carmen Salvino warming up on the championship pair. Through the years, in essence, Mike, hasn't Carmen Salvino struggled a little bit in match play against Dick Weber?
What I've observed over the years, when it came down to pressure situations, Weber's had it over Salvino. But when it came down to the pressure situation last night, bowling for the tournament lead, Salvino easily defeated Weber. So maybe the worm has turned, and Salvino says, hey, I'm going to beat you this time.
See, this is kind of like Nicklaus and Palmer playing for the U.S. Open, when you have Salvino and Weber together, two of the all-time greats in bowling, and hard to believe that it would take them this many years to get a chance to bowl against each other, and now they're seniors, and what's going through their minds?
Well, you got 46 titles, national PBA titles, or 43 titles between the two of them. You've got 4 seniors titles between the two of them. They've made over $1,300,000 between the two of them. But what's going through their mind right now, I think more than anything else, is pride. It's not so much the $13,000 first place for winning this. It's I beat either Dick Weber or I beat Carmen Salvino to win the Showboat Seniors Invitational.
So in other words, the $13,000 on top is nice, but the bragging rights, in essence, are really what is at hand at this point.
In my opinion, that's what's at hand at this moment. Yes, Denny.
Well, Mike and I are looking forward to this one, and I'm sure all the fans all over the country are as well. Salvino and Weber are warming up, and let's hope it's a remarkable show. Maybe history in the making here at the Showboat in Las Vegas. We'll be back with the start of the title game right after this.
Planning for your future, don't ignore important details like burial arrangements. Laureldale Cemetery is a full-service cemetery representing all faiths. We cater to all wishes and needs with our tranquil chapel, proud mausoleum, and beautifully kept grounds. Laureldale Cemetery invites you to come out, talk with us, walk our grounds, and be assured that your decision to plan with Laureldale Cemetery is the right one. Call Laureldale Cemetery for details on how you can receive a free space in Hawthorne Gardens.
This is it. The last of the 88s have arrived. Your last chance for a factory cash rebate. Your last chance to save big. On Sunday, a $500 cash rebate. On Colt, a $1,000 cash rebate. $1,250 on a Colt Vista wagon. And a whopping $1,800 on a Sporty Conquest. 5.8% financing is available, too, on selected models. The last of the 88s have arrived. And when they're gone, they're gone. So hurry to Lindgren Chrysler Plymouth, 1600 Lancaster Avenue, Reading. Berks County's largest Chrysler Plymouth dealer. We deliver more than just a car.
The upset of the week is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need. At the 24 Hours of Le Mans, Porsche had been the dominant racing machine, winning the last 7 races. But this year, Le Mans belonged to the British and the Jaguar team. The team of Lammers, Dumfries, and Wallace held off the factory Porsche team in an unusually close race for Jaguar's first win in 31 years. Our Pepto-Bismol upset of the week.
Mom, where's my other Red Sox?
Oh, it's just a little stomach thing.
Mom!
I'm late.
I have to wear Red Sox or I look like a nerd.
I knew it. You're sick. I forgot how bad diarrhea feels.
Don't worry. All you need is this.
Here it comes. The soothing relief of Pepto-Bismol. The one that coats is the only one you need.
Feeling better?
A-okay.
Great. Now, if I could only find Susie's Red Sox.
Did you look in the laundry?
Two of the kingpins of the sport of 10 pins, Salvino and Weber, cheering each other on. And what happened? They both sat down. Somebody better get up and bowl.
Well, I thought it was going to be like Isaiah Magic, and they'd give a kiss, but they didn't do that.
I asked Carmen if he would kiss Dick before the match, and he said no, but I might drop my bowling ball on his toe. Kind of set the tone. He said that with tongue-in-cheek, obviously. I think these two, through the years, have developed tremendous respect for one another's abilities.
Solid 10 right out of the gate. And it's interesting, the strategy's already in play, as Salvino has chosen to finish on the left lane and make Weber finish the match. So he wants to post his score first and say, hey, Dick, if you're going to beat me, you're going to have to strike on the 10th to do it.
Take a look at those numbers, 60 and 43. Any players through the years that end up better than 500 on national television are way ahead of the game.
At the 10 pin, no trouble.
Mike had a chance to talk to Carmen about that arm swing and about the way that he approaches things, and he does have a unique style.
Well, years ago when he first came out with this, he called it the equation. And in his book, Fast Lanes, he reveals that equation. Oh, right out of the gate, a 4-9. He tugged the ball a little bit. First frame, in a situation like this, Carmen's going to go for this. The ball's just a little left to target, turns right at the end. The 2-pin flies right around the 4, and the ball chops the 5 off the 9.
A little hitch in the swing, and it just didn't seem to work.
Carmen's going to go for this all the way. Not enough. Not enough.
Well, what's that do to you mentally, trailing by 11 now and throwing what you feel is a pretty good shot in the first frame and ending up with a 4-9?
It's just like getting a cold shower in a hurry. It just deflates your whole game plan right away. Suddenly you're looking up, chasing, scratching, and clawing to get back up there. Better shot.
That time Salvino went with the Magic Johnson jump shot.
But he also, his hand stayed behind the ball so long and he turned it so late. It was just a pretty shot.
We watched him play last night, and he threw the ball. He probably threw the ball as well last night as he has in the last 10 years. Just gorgeous.
He's getting such heavy fingers. I mean, real lift with his middle 2 fingers.
Weber now in the second.
Hi. Weber this time would come back. Last time in the 9th frame, he flashed that elbow to us that he had turned the ball early. Exactly what he did then. And he has that tendency. He gets that swing out away from his body every now and then. Turns that ball a little early instead of waiting for it. And the ball's headed high right away. 3-6-10. To maintain the lead. He's in trouble. Oh, on the outside.
You don't draw it up that way, but when you're deadlocked in a title match, you have to do whatever you can.
We're going to see the shot where he left that 3-6-10 here in a second. Well, I guess we're not. Notice how Weber keeps his fingers together on that ball like that. I never could do that. I had to spread that index finger. Gonna cut that one off. We got the good results. You see that follow through? He didn't like it. That's not his ace.
All those years, though, that was one of the things that made him the greatest because of that foul line adjustment. He'd get there and he might be a little ahead, a little behind, or this or that, but he was always able to instinctively make the right wrist move.
Evidently.
29 titles don't lie.
Now watch the left hand come over. Right out together. Perfect timing. Helped it a little bit. And got the light hit.
Just destroyed the rack on the right-hand lane.
The key to watch with Carmen is his follow-through. His best follow-through was not that last one. He helped that shot a little bit. The lane brought the ball back in, light in the pocket. These urethane balls, when that ball hits light anymore, destroy those pins.
Carmen with games of 234 and 227 on the championship pair this week, an average of 230.5 and a match play record of 13 and 5.
And if you watch this follow through that time, Dan, the right arm definitely came in front of the face. The elbow broke, which indicated that at the release, he didn't have those heavy fingers that he had back in the second frame. Watch the follow through. Watch it now. See how far to the left he went with that follow through? The ball hit weak. At the spare, has the 10 pin.
stretches out, takes out the 10. Salvino leading by 1 here in the very early stages of the championship game. And these two players mean business right now. 13,000 on top. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more of the title game from Las Vegas right after this.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it. So it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. Norelco Rotatrack. We made close comfortable.
Introducing Stanley cordless tools with power that won't quit. Because unlike many other cordless tools, the new Stanley cordless drill and cordless screwdriver are designed with removable, rechargeable battery packs. So the only time they stop working is when you do.
A sport for all seasons. And 12 months a year, ESPN brings you the best of the PGA Tour. Coverage from 3 of golf's Grand Slam events, the finest Lady Linksters, and those swinging seniors. Join the world's greatest golfers for heart-stopping and heart-breaking thrills all year long. For live coverage that's far better than par for the course, ESPN.
Certainly no surprise that Dick Weber and Carmen Salvino are ranked 1 and 3 among those senior PBA money leaders. Dick with better than $82,000. Carmen hoping to add to that this evening. Teata Semiz finishing up 4th here this week is now over the $70,000 figure. And Billy Walden, past seniors champion, along with Bill Beach, currently number 4 and 5.
Bill Beach, our first seniors winner, and then finished 2nd in the next one that came up. Les Zykes is number 6. He's had 1 senior title to his credit. Bob Kowalik still looking for that first senior title. Glenn Ellison won our Canton tournament a couple years ago. Bob Perry steadily in the finals. And Mickey Spezio, who's the defending champion, along with Rowdy Morrow at the Senior Touring Pro Doubles.
Which will be played at Thruway Lanes in Cheektowaga this year, live and direct on ESPN a little bit later on. Back to the title match. Weber trails by 1. If he strikes here, he's up by 9. 4th frame action.
All he's got to do on this lane is keep his speed and give the ball a little room. And he did that, but he just kept the speed, but didn't give it quite the room he should, and got away with just leaving the 4-pin.
Mimics himself a little bit, obviously making that correction mentally on the way back.
See him come up at the line a little bit there. And the arm goes right, and the ball's 4-pin high. Keeps it a 1-pin match.
The Showboat Hotel is the longest continuing PBA tournament sponsor. 29 years now. They've hosted 45 PBA tournaments, which is amazing, and given away more than $5 million in prize money. And boy, hats off to Joe Kelly and everybody at the Showboat. They've been marvelous sponsors through the years.
Absolutely. One of our finest. To hurry, and knocks out the 10.
He looked to me that time like he almost threw the ball at the lane rather than stroked through it.
Let's put it this way. There's some room out there. Dick especially, can swing that ball wide, and it's going to make it back. Salvino, who did one of his famous tricks here, he not a trick, but he took the ball and he worked on his finger holes in between frames. He's famous for doing that. He's done it all his career. You get that right feel. Blows him out of there. I guess that's the right feel.
A little double hand slap as the ball explodes into the pocket. And there you see Jenny, many years. She still looks as lovely as ever.
See the follow-through, though? He's still not real confident in there. When you see that follow-through going left like that with Carmen, he has a variety of them, but that's not his ace follow-through.
Mr. Animation. He enjoys his bowling.
Is he going to hit it? Did, but not hard enough.
Well, he tickled the 10, but it wouldn't go.
And again, he helped that shot. He's just steering it a little bit then. It's the pressure on both bowlers. Amazing. 43 titles between the two of them nationally and 4 senior titles between the two of them, but yet they're both squeezing just a little bit.
It's funny, though, you make that mention of pressure and the fact that they might be squeezing the ball a little bit. And I talked to Dick about that. He said, Denny, you know, at my age, I don't know how many more of these things I'm going to win. When I get into the position, I got to take advantage of it. And so we look at it and say to ourselves, geez, you know, this guy's got to have the experience to go out and win this thing and be nice and loose and free. But on the other hand, it's exactly the opposite in some cases.
Sometimes. But again, I'm telling you, bragging rights are a big part of this one right here. For the lead. Oh, he got the super setter again. He just shakes his head.
And when Juanita puts the hands up over the glasses, you realize at that point that Weber has received the break of the game.
See the follow-through way wide again to the right. A lot of speed. Kept that ball in the 1-3 pocket.
But again, that's his adjustment at the foul line. He knows.
Well, I think the oil in the lane had a little something to do with it, too.
That's not Excedrin headache number 419. That's a double in the 6th, and now it's a 9-pin lead.
Running that out. Better shot all the way. That's the mark of a champion. You get that break, and you take advantage of it.
Now the pressure right back on Carmen Salvino, who is in the 7th, and Carmen desperately needs a double.
Carmen, who takes very little time.
Better shot here on the right-hand lane, and that's as flush as it gets. Carmen doesn't even react to that strike. He knew it was an X.
Carmen Salvino almost in a must-strike situation right here. Keep that pressure on Weber. Watch the follow-through. It's the key with Carmen. Fiddling around with that, putting hand in and out. They must not feel quite right to him. Oh, bad break on a good shot. Somebody yelling, too much, Carmen, too much. And it's too much 10-pin. It just didn't want to fall over.
Well, I think Weber reacting to the fact that he was hoping for quiet in the crowd. Doesn't want to disrupt the match. There you see the replay. Excellent shot. 10-pin stands again, and Salvino really upset that that one didn't strike. He knew he had to have it. Keep the pressure on.
Oh, absolutely. It was such a big shot. That would have cut the lead to 9 pins. As it is, Weber is up by 19 right now and can just virtually put this match away with 2 more strikes.
257, the possibility for Weber.
He hasn't made a real good shot on this right lane yet. Did it again, high again. Oh, and he got penalized this time. He bent his elbow like that, but that's not what happened. The follow-through went right. The hand went over the top of the ball, and the ball went left to target. Now watch it here. See? Gets away from the body at the top. Now watch the ball go left. He turns early here. Over the top. The follow-through goes to the right. He tried to save it. That's the instinctive thing he tried to do, but it's too late now. Tough spare. He's shooting it from the right. Didn't make it, and we've got a ball game.
So while Salvino sits on the bench and Ginny can do nothing but console him, Weber makes the mistake in the 8th, and now it's a 4-pin match, and this one's up for grabs.
And actually, I feel that the emotion or the momentum in this thing, if there is such a thing, has swung to Salvino's side. He's more calm at this point.
Now the issue at hand is strike in the 9th to give yourself an opportunity. Going to run it out a little bit. No wall shot this time, and gets a very good break that the only pin remaining is the 5.
And you see Weber put his hand down like that. He's rushing that line, charging that line, and he knows that that's been his classic mistake throughout the years.
Salvino perhaps working harder on the bench than he is on the approach. Knows that he's going to have an opportunity to win.
He can put the match away. Strike in the 9th and 2 in the 10th, and he can lock it up.
Not wasting any time either on the right-hand lane.
3-6-10. Boy, neither bowler really wants to win. What he heard was somebody, a beep, beep, beep. It was a beeper. I definitely heard it myself.
Weber looks over, concerned, and right now, Carmen Salvino is chatting with Harry Golden, National Tournament Director, and I think Carmen, in essence, was asking for a reshot, wasn't he?
He was asking for interference, and Goose said no.
What's the ruling? We heard it.
It can't be audio that way, especially behind. It has to be something visual in front of you.
Okay, the key now to make the spare. All right, got the spare in the ninth, but explain the rule.
See if we can hear the beep.
There's no audio.
I can't hear it at all. He kind of grimaced. He heard something.
I did.
Well, I definitely heard it too.
Yeah.
The important thing, though, is this match is still within 10 pins. If he can strike out in the 10th frame, he can put the pressure on Weber. Great shot. Oh, and he leaves a solid 8. He says, what do I have to do to knock him over? Just not my day.
All Carmen can do is smile, and right now his heart is in his throat. He has absolutely thrown the best shot he's thrown the entire night, and he doesn't strike.
And it reminds me of last year. J.B. Blaylock needed a mark to win and left a solid 10 and then missed it. Weber has the magic touch. The luck he has here, he should be making it on the table, shouldn't he?
I'll tell you what right now, though. Dick Weber was so upset last year when J.B. Blaylock missed the 10 pin and handed the title to Dick that he had won, and he was excited about that, but he really felt badly for J.B. Blaylock. And now he's in a position where, in essence, Salvino gets a terrible break in the 9th, throws a great shot in the 10th, and once again, Weber's going to get the chance to win.
He needs 7 to make him mark. And that's going to get 7. The shoe is on the other foot now.
All right.
Last year, J.B. Blaylock needed the mark to win. This year, Weber needs that mark to win. And he has been anything but confident the last few frames on this right lane. Left the 3, 9, 10 in the 8th frame. We'll see what he does here now. The frozen rope that Weber's famous for when he needs it.
Salvino turned away once again, this time by the man who he has battled for over 30 years, Dick Weber. Boy, that was a classic shot to lock up the match.
Weber's famous for throwing that frozen rope real straight and tight in pressure situations.
So Dick Weber has now won 3 consecutive PBA Senior Showboat Invitationals, and he has now won 30 career PBA titles.
Only a few players have been able to do that.
And I'll tell you right now, when we get a chance to chat with him a little bit later on, the first thing he'll say is, I can't believe what a bad break Carmen got, and I feel badly for him. And that's the kind of individual that Dick Weber is. Finishes out in the 10th. He strikes out for 212. And very quickly, Salvino up, a pat on the back by Weber, and Dick Weber virtually unbeatable here at the Showboats. And on the other side of the coin, the disappointment of Carmen Salvino. The final score, 212 to 194. Weber collects $13,000 and yet another championship. And we'll be back to chat with Dick Weber and hopefully Carmen Salvino as well when we come back. Weber the winner here at the Showboat in Las Vegas over Carmen Salvino.
Here's some good news about Green Thumb products from True Value hardware stores. You can easily spray flowers or vegetables with this Green Thumb 2-gallon polyethylene sprayer, just $24.88. Get water where you need it with this 75-foot reinforced vinyl hose, only $12.99. And water large areas with this Green Thumb 2-speed traveling sprinkler, just $49.99. For a beautiful lawn and garden, remember Green Thumb products from participating True Value hardware stores. Tell them Willard sent you.
Great. But we wanted a Bud Light. Bud Light!
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Now go get this.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
After years of research, the high-tech laboratories of Columbia 300 have created the most advanced urethane bowling ball ever made. The 100% urethane Columbia 300 U-Dot. The extraordinary U-Dot solves the inherent problems of lope and wobble. Its devastating pin power and superior lane control characteristics are unequaled. If you bowl to win, the Columbia 300 U-Dot is the ultimate weapon. It's like no ball ever made before. Sold only in lanes and pro shops.
Burning, itching, cracking, peeling. These are the symptoms of athlete's foot that can stop you in your tracks. But Desenex actually cures athlete's foot and puts you back in the running. Desenex, the classic cure for athlete's foot.
And welcome back to the Showboat Hotel Casino and Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Dick Weber ends up the champion of the PBA Seniors Invitational here at the Showboat in an outstanding match against a friend and a foe, I guess, a player that he has battled with over 30 years, Carmen Salvino, and you hate to see anybody lose in that situation.
Well, they hadn't bowled each other before in their careers on television, and I predicted a 240 to 230 match. It wound up 2-0 to 190, but it was fitting that it came right down to the 10th frame. And maybe the greatest bowler of all time needed that mark to get that win, and he threw what he's done so many times, that high, hard one, but 10 in a pit, and he won.
Well, before we get to Mr. Weber or Mr. Salvino or the trophy presentations or the checks or anything else, we're going to recap, in essence, what happened here this evening at the Showboat, starting with the first match between John Hricsina and Joe Callaway, who really excited the crowd here, and we're going to pick up the action in the 10th frame with Joe Callaway.
Joe Callaway bowling here in the 10th frame. Really had the match well in hand. What we noticed about Joe all week long, and tonight especially, was the loft that he had and the speed, and then his enthusiasm once he let the ball go. This is the first shot in the 10th frame. Solid in that 1-3 pocket. 222 to 186. An easy winner for Callaway in match number 1.
And, of course, he breathed a sigh of relief after he won his opening game, and the trip wasn't going to get any easier for him because Teata Semiz was next in line, and in essence, that match was decided very early on for the first couple of frames when Semiz made a couple of mistakes. But in the end, once again, it came down to the 10th frame, and once again, Callaway delivered.
Well, Callaway, in this time, needed a mark in the 10th frame in order to win. We saw how he would react to pressure in this situation. Looked just the same as if he'd been practicing. Got that ball way out on the lane again. The ball came into that 1-3 pocket, needing that mark. And we're going to see what he did. Just blew him right out of there. The 5 goes right into the 7. The 6 saws out that 10. And now he's going against his idol, Dick Weber.
So the second game ended up 214 to 195. Semiz took home the 4th place check of $4,500. And then it was on to the legend, the player that he had dreamed about bowling his entire career, Dick Weber. That, of course, in the semifinal game. Callaway started with the first 5, made a mistake in the 6th, but Weber hung on all the way.
Weber bowled outstanding in that semifinal match, had every ball in the pocket. In the 9th frame, he could wrap up the match virtually, or really put a lot of pressure on Callaway. Put himself well ahead. Really didn't throw his ace shot. Kind of came up at the line, but kept that good speed. Made that indefinable foul line correction that he's so famous for. The ball held pocket. Got the strike. He went on to take advantage of that. Struck out in the 10th frame. Shot 258 and won. And there we see the wrap-up of our 3 matches going into the title match.
That's right. Weber finished with a final 6 strikes in that semifinal game. And Joe Callaway headed back to Aurora, Colorado, with a nice 3rd place check and fond memories of Las Vegas. He'll be back next year, I'm sure. But then the 2 heavyweights, the kingpins of the bowling industry as far as the seniors are concerned. On top, Carmen Salvino, and chasing him, Dick Weber, in the title match. It was an interesting game.
Well, Salvino got a lot of bad breaks in that game. He had some noise upset him in the 9th frame where we all heard that beeping, but he didn't get an interference call. And then he could still put a lot of pressure on Weber with 2 strikes in the 10th through his ace shot, that first ball in the 10th. Left a solid 8. It just wasn't Carmen's night.
And there's not much you can do when you throw a shot that good, especially on the left-hand lane where you leave a solid 8. It's, in essence, in the fate of the gods, I suppose, huh?
Well, this time they weren't smiling on him, and so Weber seems to have the smile on him all the time.
And the big key, of course, was Weber. He comes up big here in the late stages.
Needs that mark. The first ball in the 10th frame had to have some kind of mark. The good speed, watch the good follow-through there. his best shot of the game, I thought, flush in the 1-3 pocket and knocked that 10-pin out of there.
And Weber went on to strike out. The final score, 212 to 194. And we'll be back to talk with Dick Weber, who he's over 50, but what? He's won better than 30 titles. We'll be back to talk with him.
All you need to know about great selection and low prices is here, inside the newest circular from True Value Hardware Stores. Check out the Father's Day circular for the Loctite cordless hot melt glue gun. That's only $13.99. This Master Mechanic cordless screwdriver with charging base and Phillips slotted bit for just $15.99. And the high-powered turbo wash pressure washer is only $13.99 at participating True Value Hardware Stores and home centers.
Introducing Kodacolor Gold 100.
I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors shining through.
Kodacolor Gold 100 gives you the most accurate colors, the truest colors of any print film.
Don't be afraid to let them show.
A new Kodacolor Gold.
Your true colors.
After years of research, the high-tech laboratories of Columbia 300 have created the most advanced urethane bowling ball ever made. The 100% urethane Columbia 300 U-Dot. The extraordinary U-Dot solves the inherent problems of lope and wobble. Its devastating pin power and superior lane control characteristics are unequaled. If you bowl to win, the Columbia 300 U-Dot is the ultimate weapon. It's like no ball ever made before. Sold only in lanes and pro shops.
Burning, itching, cracking, peeling. These are the symptoms of athlete's foot that can stop you in your tracks. But Desenex actually cures athlete's foot and puts you back in the running. Desenex, the classic cure for athlete's foot.
And a round of applause for Dick Weber, who I think, after he receives his check this evening, might just buy a portion of the Showboat Hotel, Bowling Center, and Casino here in Las Vegas. This has been a marvelous place for you.
Yes, it has, Denny. I've certainly been lucky here. Like last year, J.B. Blaylock missed the 10-pin in the 10th frame for me to win. But I'd like to recap Carmen's game. He left the 4-9 in the first frame. Then he leaves 2 half-10s, and then he leaves a solid 10. Then he gets in the 9th frame, he gets a beeper call from somebody in the back that had a beeper on and didn't help him any. And the PBA rules doesn't allow a protest shot on that. I don't know why, but they don't. Anyway, and then the 10th frame, he leaves a solid 8. So I feel like I beat a great champion, but he beat me actually as far as pocket goes, and I just lucked out. So it's just a pleasure to be able to bowl in the same lanes with him.
Of course, Carmen doesn't realize that Weber was doing a voodoo dance while Carmen was up on the approach the entire time. Michael, a question for the champion. Sometimes you have to prepare hard, and sometimes you're just lucky.
Dick, this seems to be a yearly habit. You're just here every year. Is anyone else ever going to win the Showboat tournament?
Well, if I can keep him from it, I'm going to try. But as long as Mrs. Moore, Judy Moore, has this, and Jack Cook, our general manager here, has this back, why, I'll come back forever, because we started here in 1960 with Showboat people. And it's just been a delight to be with them and bowl for them.
Well, you're an outstanding champion, and we all know that. A legend in your own time.
Thank you.
That legend, though, was running in a little bit of trouble when you were bowling Callaway, and you went up with 5 straight strikes, weren't you?
Well, no comment.
All right, that's too much for him at this point. That's too much for him. Let's bring out Judy Moore now, the general manager of the Showboat Hotel and Casino. And, Judy, I know that you have a lovely check here for Mr. Weber.
Yes, Dick, once again, I'd like to present you for $13,000 on behalf of the Showboat Hotel and Casino. We congratulate you one more time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks very much, Judy. Thanks to you and your father. And it's, again, a great pleasure, and I hope we can meet like this again next year.
I hope we do, too.
And, of course, you can place that $13,000 on a hard 8 at the crap table outside. Is that right?
Well,
definitely. I'll bet the hard 8.
I have his check here still, Dick. I'll go place it for you.
All right. Well, now let's move on to Mr. Jack Cook, who is the general manager here at the Showboat, and he has a marvelous trophy to present Dick Weber. And, geez, you don't have a matching set now. You've got 3 of them.
Congratulations, Dick. You bowled real well this week again. And unfortunately, the last 2 years when you won this tournament, you keep leaving the trophies here. This makes the third one I've still got in my office.
Jack, I got a dear friend, Bob Brown, here. He's going to haul them back for me. He drove out here from St. Louis, so he's going to haul them back for me. Three of them.
I hope he drove a van.
But thanks again, Jack, for the invite back, and we'll see you again in January for sure at the National Showboat Invitational here, and then I hope for the seniors too.
Thanks, Dick. We really enjoy having the PBA here. It's such a pleasure to have the seniors bowling this week, and we look forward to having you again next year.
All right, we would be remiss at this point if we did not now bring out the tournament's top seed player, who ended up second in this championship, Carmen Salvino out of Chicago, Illinois, who is certainly one of the greatest showmen in the history of the game. And Carmen, sometimes it just doesn't happen the way it's supposed to.
Well, I'll tell you, it's nice to have a guy beat you. That when I was a little kid, my mother used to carry me in the bowling center. In a blanket, that's how small I was when I watched this guy bowl. I ain't saying that he's older than me, but he's kind of ancient. But he's a great champion. As far as I'm concerned, for longevity, Dick Weber's the greatest bowler that ever lived.
Carmen?
But I'm number 2. Don't you ever slow up, boy.
I was just going to say, you know, you guys have talked about all those years about never having bowled each other on national television. What will you take away from this one this evening?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not going to take anything away because we're going to be around for a long time, and I'm going to get him. I'm going to kill him next time.
Well, you know, it's amazing. All these years, 30 years you've been matched up, the tears now coming to Dick Weber's eyes. You guys have thrown a lot of strikes and a lot of spares together, haven't you?
Yes, we have, Denny. It's been a pleasure because Carmen not only is a great bowler, but he's been an asset to the bowling industry because he has designed a bowling ball for the youngsters that come out on the tour. And he's offered his advice and given advice to the youngsters out on the tour. And it's been a tremendous help to them and the PBA. So it's...
you know, I think what you guys bring is the fact that you're competitors, but you still love to play the game.
Well, I'll tell you, the best way I can describe it, why don't you just hug me and kiss me and get it over with? No, he's great, I'll tell you. You know, they talk about other sports having great athletes and having a great sport, but I think bowling's the greatest sport in the world. And I'll tell you, not bragging about myself, but there's 2 guys here that we wear the crown well, and we want to do right for our sport.
Thank you so much, Carmen and Dick Weber. Don't forget, Eric Clemens and John Saunders standing by in Bristol with Sports Center. Everything you'd ever want to know about sports. We had it all here this evening. Thanks for joining us, and so long from Las Vegas. The championship round finals of the $100,000 Showboat PBA Seniors Invitational on ESPN has been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By True Value Hardware. It's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. And by the good time and great taste of McDonald's. Coming up next week on ESPN, the PBA Summer Tour will head to Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl for the finals of the $100,000